Hey folks, Nathan here from Star Wars Beyond the Films and the Star Wars Gaming Podcast Cloud City Casino, both of which you can find at StarWarsReport.com. Bringing you a look at more of these X-Wing 2nd Edition items as they are released. It's been a while since I had a chance to record one of these, but we continue where we left off with another conversion kit, the last one so far released, which is for, of course, Scum and Villainy. Again, these are designed to let you take a bunch of your version 1.0 or 1st Edition X-Wing ships and make them playable for X-Wing 2nd Edition, even if the 2nd Edition version of that ship as a separate expansion has not been released yet. So we have the box here that lets us know what it is. We have a little rule supplement that's mostly a component list and a little bit of detail about certain ship types. And then when you open it, it'll give you information about your medium ships and medium bases. The Fire Spray is now a medium-sized ship, so it's got one of these smaller bases now than it used to. The Kimogila, if I'm saying that right, the Skurg, and the G1A are also now considered medium, but those three used to be small ships on small bases. So now we've got those conversion pieces, just like we did back with the other two conversion kits. So we have 4 medium bases here, plus the little conversion pegs that let you use a medium or old large base with a ship that had a small peg at the top. It just narrows the size down. We've seen it before, but it is worth noting there are 4 of the conversion pegs and 4 of the bases included here, but none of the first regular sized peg that would go underneath those conversion bases. Again, just like we saw in the last 2 conversion kits. As with the other conversion kits, they assume you might need some dial ID tokens for some of those earlier ships, so they provide us with 23 of those of various types you might need. As far as other small tokens, we have 3 Calculate, 3 Focus, 2 Reinforce, 1 Cloak, 2 Stress, 3 Disarm, 2 Ion, 3 Tractor, 3 Jam, 5 Standard Charges, 3 Force Charges, our proof of purchase, of course. And then we have 3 of these single turret arc indicators for medium and large size ships, and 4 for small ships, along with 1 condition token for listening device, with its condition card that is, again, a regular size card now instead of a small one. We then have a total of 54 ship tokens. Again, there's a little side pack that gives us a couple of extra cards, which also means we need some extra tokens. There's 1 extra small ship token for Joy Wreckoff and 1 more medium ship token for Koshka Frost, along with another upgrade card, but that's a whole other thing. We'll look at that later. But that means we've got a handful of large, a handful of medium, and a crap ton of small ship tokens. We'll take a look at exactly what ships you can field as we look at our maneuver dials and which pilots as we look at our ship cards. That brings us to those aforementioned maneuver dials. All right, so we have 2 each for the Star Viper, the Skurg, the Fire Spray, the Jumpmaster 5000, right, punishing 1, the YV666 Light Freighter, Houndstooth, HWK-290, the Aggressor, which of course is the IG-2000. I always put the dial ID token upside down for that one. I'm pretty sure I did earlier, so hey, Easter egg to find that, I guess. The Kimogila, the G1A, which is of course the Mist Hunter, the Y-Wing, and the Lancer-class Pursuit Craft, or the Shadowcaster. Okay, so all those we have 2 each. We then have 3 each for the Quad Jet Transfer Space Tug, or the Quad Jumper, the Fang Fighter, the Protectorate Fighter, the Kirax Fighter, and then we have 4 each for the Z-95 Headhunter and the M3A Interceptor. As for upgrade cards, we'll start with Talents. We have 3 each of Crackshot, Fearless, and Intimidation, 1 each of Lone Wolf and Squad Leader, and then 2 each of all the rest, which include Debris Gambit, Elusive, Expert Handling, Daredevil, Juke, Swarm Tactics, Saturation Salvo, Predator, Outmaneuver, Marksmanship, and Trick Shot. Then we have a whole bunch of instances here of upgrade cards with 2 of each for several categories. For sensors, we have Advanced Sensors, Collision Detector, Fire Control System, and Trajectory Simulator. For cannons, we have Heavy Laser Cannon, Ion Cannon, Jamming Beam, and Tractor Beam. For turrets, we just have dorsal turret and ion cannon turret. For torpedoes, you have advanced proton torpedoes, ion torpedoes, and regular proton torpedoes. And then for missiles, we have cluster missiles, concussion missiles, homing missiles, ion missiles, and proton rockets. Pretty standard stuff. For Astromechs, we'll start out with our unique ones, Genius, R5P8, and R5TK. Then 2 of each generic, R2, R3, R4, and R5 Astromechs. Then for illicit upgrades, we have 1 copy of Cloaking Device, 3 each of both Deadman Switch and Feedback Array, and then 2 each of Inertial Dampeners, Rigged Cargo Chute, and Contraband Cybernetics. That brings us to bombs, modifications, and titles. For bombs, we have 1 of Bomblet Generator and then 2 each of Connor Nets, Proton Bombs, Proximity Mines, and Seismic Charges. Pretty standard stuff. For modifications, we have 2 each of all of them, Ablative Plating or Ablative Plating, Electronic Baffle, Engine Upgrade, Hull Upgrade, Munitions Failsafe, Tactical Scrambler, Stealth Device, Static Discharge Vanes, and Shield Upgrade. Then we have our titles. We start out with the Fire Spray that has 3, Andrasta, Slave 1, and Marauder. Marauder is the new title upgrade card that was inside that little separate pack, so it's on this component list, not the component list for the main sheet. Then we have 1 for the Scourge, which is the Havoc, 1 for the 666, the Houndstooth, 2 for the Aggressor, right, IG-2000 for both of them. Then Mist Hunter for the G1A, and then Punishing 1 for the Jump Master. Down below here, we also then have, almost forgot them, for the Lancer class Pursuit Craft, we have the Shadowcaster, and for the Star Viper, we have the Virago. How could I have almost forgot them? For crew members, we have our unique ones here. We have 000, 4 LOM, I always used to call him 4-Lime. Is that how you're supposed to say it? Boba Fett, Cad Bane, Sakatro Vizago, and Ketsu Onyo. Our next column here, Lats Razi, Maul, Unkar Plut, Zuckuss, and IG-88D. Then we have 1 that's unique but not a specific character, which is Informant, and then 1 specific unique character, Jabba the Hutt, that takes the place of 2 crew positions because he's so freaking huge. Then we have 2 each of the generics, Freelance Slicer, G&K Gonk Droid, Novice Technician, Perceptive Co-Pilot, Seasoned Navigator, and Tactical Officer. Then finally, the last of our upgrades are our Gunners. Our unique ones are Bosk, BT-1, Dengar, and Greedo. Then 2 each of our 4 generics, Hotshot Gunner, Skilled Bombardier, Veteran Tail Gunner, and Veteran Turret Gunner. Alright, let's start talking pilots for these ship cards. Which ones made the cut to jump to 2nd edition? For the Fang Fighter, we have Finn Rao, Old Terok, and Cad Solus as the ones on the regular component list. And then Joy Rakoff was added and in that little separate pack. Then for our generics, we have 3 of Zealous Recruit and 2 of Skull Squadron Pilot. For the Quad Jumper, we then have Unkar Plut, Sarko Plank, Constable Zubio, and then 3 generics as Jakku Gunrunner. For the Y-Wing for Scum and Villainy, we have 2 named, Cavill and Drea Renthal, and then 2 each of 2 generics, Hired Gun and Crymora Goon. Then we have a total of 9 for the Z95, Nashtapup, which really isn't the name of a character, that's more the name of the escape craft. Then we have Klaatu Liachos and Nadru Suhulak for our named pilots, and then 3 each of Binaire or Binary Pilot, and 3 of Black Sun Soldier. Then for the HWK-290, 3 named and 2 generic of the same one, Dace Bonarm, Palos Godali, and Torkel Mux are going to be our named ones, and then the 2 generics are both Spice Runner. Then for the Star Viper, we have 3 named, Guri, Dalan Oberos, and Prince Shizor, and then 2 each of Black Sun Assassin and Black Sun Enforcer. Then for our Interceptor, the M3A Interceptor, we have 6 named, and then 4 each of 2 generics. We have Sunnybounder, Inaldra, Quinjast, Lathan Ashira, Genesis Red, and Sarasu. Then our generics that we have 4 of each from, we have Tansari Point Veteran and Cartel Spacer. Then for the Kirax, we have Captain Justero, Victor Hell, Graz, and Talonbane Cobra. And 3 each of 2 generics, Black Sun Ace and Cartel Marauder. That brings us to the Fire Spray. We have 4 named pilots from the regular component list: Eamon Azamine, Kath Scarlet, Crassus Tralix, and of course Boba Fett. There is also 1 other in that little side pack that's not on the main component list, which is Koshka Frost. Then we have 2 generics, both Bounty Hunter. And then finally, our final groups of pilots here. For the Aggressor, we have IG-88's A through D, all as unique pilots, no generics. Okay. Then for the G-1A Starfighter, right, the Mist Hunter, we have 4 LOM or 4-LOM, Zuckuss, Gand Finesman, ×2. For the Skurd, Captain Nim, Sol Sixa, and then Loke Revenant, ×2. For the Kimagila, we have Delan Oberos, again, Tarani Kolda, and then Cartel Executioner, ×2. The YV666, the Houndstooth, we have Bosk, Moralo Ival, Lats Razi, and then 1 generic, which is Trandoshan Slaver, but only 1 copy of it. Fitting the same pattern then for the Jumpmaster, or the Punishing One, we have Dengar, Manaru, Tel Trevura, and then the 1 generic Contracted Scout. And then finally, the Lancer class Pursuit Craft, we have Ketsu Onyo, Asajj Ventress, Sabine Wren, and 1 generic with only 1 copy, which is Shadowport Hunter. So there you have it, folks, the Scum and Villainy conversion kit for X-Wing 2nd Edition or X-Wing 2.0. As a last comment on these conversion kits, now that we're done looking at the first 3 from this initial wave of 2nd Edition, I would point out that when you take a look at the contents of either of these, they're really focused on making sure that ships are playable. And they talk about how it has all these new ship cards and new maneuver dials and all these upgrade cards and so on. They don't really focus too much on the tokens. You're probably going to wind up for a while playing with some of your shield tokens from 1.0, maybe some of your focus or evade tokens from 1.0, and it's just not something that they felt like, I guess, putting in here as yet another cardboard sheet with yet another big set of tokens to punch out. But don't get rid of all your 1.0 stuff yet. If you think that you're just going to be able to hang on to the ships and the bases, you are going to need some of your little components here and there as we go along. But at least now you can jump into X-Wing 2nd Edition with any of the 3 original factions, that is, Rebels and Imperials, which are the original 2 plus Scum and Villainy that were added fairly soon thereafter, with basically all of your previous ships without having to wait for them to be released as part of 2.0. I would bear in mind also that if you want to use things like quick builds and whatnot, you're going to have to use the X-Wing Squad Builder app, but it's pretty much a requirement to play the game at all at this point, so you might as well grab that and grab the Star Wars Dice app while you're at it.